Hey guys, we're just going to sit down and have a quick chat about some questions that the team have got, maybe some of my tips, tricks, thoughts, advice on being successful, advice on how to get a job if you haven't got a job and you're unemployed, how to fix your resume, how to show up in an interview, maybe some good answers, and some general thoughts on success. I hope you enjoy it. So do's and don'ts of interviews. A do is talk about numbers and results that you've achieved. Even if you are starting out and doing your first interview, talk about the numbers of things that you've done, like quantities, not necessarily activities. So if it's a sales role or a marketing role, talk about, like we want to hear, like as a CEO, I want to hear results. I don't want to hear the formula that you followed. I do want to know how you got to the result. I'll ask that second, but I'm not going to ask that first. So you may know the theories, but if you can tell stories and talk about things that you achieved and the numbers, you're going to be more successful in the interview. Don't try and be someone that you're not. So do try and be the person that you are, so that's the person that's going to show up every day. Do admit that you've got areas that you want to improve, because everybody is learning, like no one's perfect. Because someone who walks in and says, I can do all of that and I'm amazing, is going to get bored. And we don't want to hire people that are going to get bored, because it costs a lot of money to hire people. So we don't want to be doing that on a frequent basis. So do go into the interview with an expectation that you're going to do that role for, say, 2 years or 3 years. Don't go in with an expectation you're going to do it for 6 months, if it's a full-time role. Do turn up to your interview 15 minutes early. Do turn up to the interview in similar clothes to the clothes, or similar style to what the company wears. If that's foreign for you, then maybe that's not the company to be working at. Do turn up to the interview being enthusiastic. Do turn up to the interview fresh, and do turn up to the interview prepared. Stalk the company on social media, stalk the company on all of the different platforms. Don't just go to the website. It's really frustrating for me when I sit in interviews and I say, what do you know about us? Because that'll be a question. I will say, what do you know about us? And they'll go, oh, I had a bit of a look at your website. Did you look at us anywhere else? No. So the people that turn up and say, I've looked at your Instagram, I've looked at your Facebook, I've looked at your YouTube, I've looked at all the different things that you're doing, that impresses me, that they've done their due diligence and they still want to work. Because I want to know that you want to work for the company, that you don't just want a job, if that makes sense. You want to come and join this team, not just get a job. I get everybody needs money, I get that, but you want to turn up and work for that organisation. What's the next one? Any questions on that, by the way?
I actually have a question.
Go ahead.
So when you're in an interview and there's the last question, literally, do you have any questions?
Yes.
I know you're not meant to say, no, I do not, but what are some good questions if you genuinely do not have any questions?
What time do I have to start up? What time do you guys start? What time do you guys finish? Do you work on the weekends? What will a day in my life look like when I come to work at this company? Who will I talk to? Who will I report to? Do you guys sit and have lunch? Do you guys do any social activities? What's the culture like here? What do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of this organisation? What are the things that you plan to improve over the next 12 months? The kinds of things that, the things that you don't know. Do I get holidays? Do I get sick leave? Do I get healthcare? Do I get, the US? Do I get dental? What's the package? What are the next steps? So what criteria am I being assessed against? What's important to you? Like, this is an early interview question when you're starting and they say, tell me about yourself. You say, well, I'm happy to tell you about myself. There's lots of different elements. What are the kinds of things that are important to you as an organisation? What are you looking for in the candidates, so I can work out if I'm the right candidate for the role? I'm the best person to decide whether I'm the right candidate for the role as the candidate. So I need to know the pain points. I need to know the challenges. What do you want to solve? What do you want to achieve? What does success look like? So I can work out whether I can deliver that for you.
Back to the what are your weaknesses and stuff. I feel like that's the question I stunt on most in interviews. Which I think, and I'm like, what are my weaknesses? In relation to that role, I guess. But
I don't know what I don't know is a good response to that question.
Right.
I don't know what I don't know. So that is really good because, it's an open question. You say, well, that's not a lazy question because you're answering it. You go, oh, I don't know. You can sit and say, oh, I don't know what my weaknesses are. Or you could say, I actually don't know what I don't know. And part of that is going to be finding out things I don't know, but then being really fast to solve it and really fast to find that information. I don't know what I don't know, and that is about having a growth mindset. So I'm here to learn, so I've got a learning mindset. So yes, I know there's going to be challenge. One of my weaknesses is I know there's going to be challenges, and I haven't found a super fast way to find answers yet. So I'm going to keep improving my process to solve problems and find information when I don't know it.
You're currently unemployed because of COVID. Let's make a plan. What would be a plan for someone who really needs to find a job?
Okay, so I heard a rumour that some of you guys are worried about what graduate jobs there are out there after people finish studying. Did you say that, or did Zach might have said that? You have the same issue? Okay. So this applies to if you're somebody who is currently unemployed because of COVID, or you're somebody who's just about to graduate and you're worried about what graduate jobs are going to be out there. Here are some really simple tips that you can follow. The first thing, and I say this a lot to people, is you can go onto LinkedIn and you can search job titles. So have a bit of a guess at and do some research around what are the most common job titles in marketing. What are the that's for you guys. What are the most common job titles in the metal industry, or the concrete industry, or the building industry, or the finance industry, or the banking industry? And that'll give you a list of job titles. I was doing it this morning. I was looking at
Jobs tab, and you get recommended ones because of your profile.
Yeah, so I just you do that, there's that too. This morning I just did a Google search. What is in the job description of a business manager? What's in the job description of a commercial manager? What's in the job description of a systems manager? Because I'm looking at my managers and who's doing what and how do I allocate stuff between that manager, and that manager. And so I'm looking at their roles and I'm like, what are we missing? Have I got the roles organised properly? So you can find out a lot from Google in terms of what those things are. So if you're somebody who's currently unemployed, the first thing to do is to search job descriptions. Then find out what is generally in those generic versions of those job descriptions. Then have a think about an industry that would be exciting for you to work in, that you would potentially be okay to volunteer in for a week or 2 weeks, because you're currently not employed. And time is really, yes, you want to earn an income, but you're not stopping earning an income to go and get some experience. So set yourself up to do what you guys are doing, which is internships, and go and learn. So it'd be really exciting to go to work for this company, but do the job I want to do. Go and see if you can find companies like that on LinkedIn by doing lots of searches. Searching industry, maybe you want to work in marketing in makeup. Maybe you want to work in marketing in fashion. Maybe it's this particular part of fashion, which is activewear. So maybe it's automotive and motor vehicles. Maybe it's utility infrastructure. Maybe you're an engineer. So if you can understand the different types of job descriptions, if you can't understand them, the next thing you can do is start messaging people that you know that are employed in management and supervisory positions, and ask them what might the job description and job titles be. So the goal of the plan is to do the searching to find the job description, to find the title, then find the companies, and make sure you've identified a minimum of 10. It's a numbers game. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, like you lodged one job application and you just sat there in hope that I'd get that one job. In sales, when I'm selling, I always make sure I'm talking to 3 customers, like 3 prospects, because I know I'll win 1, it's 30%. So I've got to make sure I'm talking to 3. I get anxious when I'm not talking to 3. I get anxious when I'm talking to 1 because there's only 30% chance of winning it. So in interviews and in going for jobs, there will be a strike rate. You've got to go for an interview at 4 companies to win a job, or 3 companies to win a job. You might by chance fluke it and win the first one, potentially, but that's a fluke. So what is the numbers game? What's the average number of interviews to win a job, potentially? If you're poor talent, unfortunately the market decides. The market decides. So in a lot of instances, the next thing in terms of the plan is do not just hit submit with your CV. Your CV has to be customised to suit every job you go for. Your resume has to be customised to suit every job. Every single submission has to have a cover letter or a cover email that's well thought out and specifically addressed to the person that it's going to. Find that person on LinkedIn, work out what they like, what they don't like, and specifically customise that for those people.
Speaking of resumes and CVs, do you have any tips?
Customise it to suit the job you're going for.
That's the tip.
That's the tip. That's the tip. Yep, that's the key.
What do you think is one of the biggest keys to success?
One of the biggest keys to success. I've been looking at psychometric testing across team members and people, and it validates what I'm about to say. I think one of the biggest keys to success is speed and pace. And so when I actually look at people, because we have a recruitment business and I'm looking at people's psychometric testing, that's what I need to go and talk to him about, is to go and talk about people that we've been evaluating. It measures pace, and they're not moving quick enough. They're not creating a sense of urgency. So one of mine and his characteristics, as an example, is that we basically do things quickly without worrying too much about quality or worrying too much about detail. It's a measure of pace, and it's creating a sense of urgency. So, a joke is, if you can't walk fast, run. So you should be living in this mindset of, at work, I need to walk fast or I need to run. I can't dawdle and I can't like shuffle along. Work is about doing as much as you can, and so the number one thing is pace. What does that look like for you? And then that is also around, it's important to sort of go slow to go fast, which is actually, the concept of selling to a buying audience. Like, you've got to be making decisions. Like, sometimes ideas the idea is a good one in your own head, but you've got to test it in the market. And if the market responds quickly and buys it and literally gives you money, it's a good idea. And so whether that's a job that you're going for, it's a career that you're choosing, it's a product you're selling, it's a service you're developing, the customer decides, and the customer decides with money. And so I see heaps of people come in and pitch me on, oh, this is a great idea. I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. I wouldn't buy it. Go find someone that'll buy it. In fact, find thousands of people that'll buy it. They'll tell you it's a good idea because you will have money in the bank. Yeah. The other one on success is consistency. So I've been showing up, doing the same thing day in, day out for 20 years. And so it takes time to build it up. Like, there are people out there that unfortunately we see on social media that go viral, but actually if you validate it, they might be super viral on social media, but they don't own their house. Or they're super viral on social media and they're renting the Ferrari, or they're renting the hotel room, or they're traveling around the world, but there's no balance sheet. Success is measured on the strength of your balance sheet, which is cash in the bank or assets. And that gives you the freedom. Like, if you can have assets that throw off income, your money is working for you. So go buy something that makes money, so then you don't have to keep making the money. Yeah. So you flip from selling time to basically, I take $20,000, I make these things, and they go out and that money works for me. That generates work. That'll sit on someone's desk, they'll read it, it'll generate inquiries. So I'm spending money to make money, and then I'm trying to invest in things that constantly give a return. My success is measured on, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, and nothing's too expensive. So your success is measured on, I measure my success inside my own head, which is, I say, when I want to do something, I say, how do I make that work? Not, that's too expensive.
Yeah, right.
So I measure success on the number of times I say, how do they make that work? And I'm less successful when I say, too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. So, and that is, you can understand that that's variable. So for some people, they're doing everything that they want to do and they have a fairly, in relative terms, cheap lifestyle. There are other people doing everything that they want to do and they have an expensive lifestyle. But if you don't have to say, how much is that? Or that's too expensive, that's when, in my world, you're successful. You're doing what you want. Hang out with your family, hang out with your friends, quality time, have experiences, buy shit you want to buy. That is successful.
When you were building the brand, though, to get to that point, what sacrifices did you have to make?
I've sacrificed my health. So I've done things like, I've got a false tooth. So only one at the moment, but sacrificed my health, not going to the dentist, not going to the doctor, not going and doing workouts in the morning, showing up to work, doing work. My genetics, I'm predisposed to be a heavy-set person. Look at my brother, he's 10 years younger than me. Sacrificed his health. Hasn't been to the gym in probably 3 years. super strong.
Neither have I.
There you go. But so now that we're in this office with our parking outside, my skis on the roof all the time of my car, and I did a 13K paddle in the middle of the day yesterday, so I'm trying to get back on top of that. I've sacrificed my health, sacrificed family time, sacrificed relationships with friends. So you've got to work out where what you value. But I was like, if I do these things, then I can do those things.
Yeah. It all balances out in the end.
In theory, if you, that's right, exactly right. Yeah.
Did you reach your level of success in the time frame that you expected to?
I'm 45. I'm doing all right. Am I where I want to be? No. Am I doing what I like doing? Most of my days I get to do what I like doing. And that's really where I measure it. Ultimately, is can I do what I want to do when I want to do it?
Yeah.
And yes, that's the answer to that question. So there's things I don't have to do anymore that I don't like doing. And I've both pivoted the business away from those things and also had people come on board that love doing those things.
Yeah.
How do you guys measure success?
Security. That's always been my thing.
Yep.
Security with money, security with family, security with friends, and like getting to that point where you actually, like you said, you don't have to worry.
Yep. Yep.
You're not going paycheck to paycheck. You're not worrying about that relationship. And it's also like, and security within yourself. Knowing who you are. Eventually, I know that all comes with age and experience, but I think, security is just massive. I just want that.
I think there's an interesting conversation about expectations. Like, I've got the lovely white beach house, if you like, but would be just as happy living in a tent. So there's a piece about mindfulness and happiness in terms of your situation. Like, I've met lots of people that have come through and been in our intern program and those sorts of things. Like, I just want to sit and work from a coffee shop on my laptop and go home to my $1 billion beach house. That won't give you happiness.
Oh, no.
It's inside your head. And so it is important to go, okay, well, actually, my dad sends me a text message and he goes, we're going camping on Father's Day at the beginning of September. I'm like, cool, I'm looking forward to that. Sleep in a sleeping bag, bedroll, tent, happy.
I can't straighten my hair when we No, but I get what you're saying.
I guess success for me is more on like a scale of I just want to be doing something I really enjoy. I feel like that is like the number one priority for me. I don't care too much about the money situation, but again, I haven't really ever been in a personal situation where I've had to struggle for money. Like, obviously you work hard for it, but I've never been in that situation personally, so I also don't know the impacts of that to a degree.
I can tell you from experience, there's nothing more gutting than working really, really hard and then the bank takes your house. In 1994, the bank took our family house. So the other thing that you learn from that is that I'm happy to trip over. Like, I'll take risks because I know how to do it. And so I'm happy to lose everything. Like, if I lost everything, financially, houses, cars, boats, all that sort of stuff, if I lost all of that, then I wouldn't have a problem because I know how to do it again.
Yeah.
I know how to cook a cake. So if someone eats the cake, I'll just cook it again.
And you've got that passion and motivation. So
I like working.
It sets you up.
Yeah.
You don't need a lot. You just need that motivation, that work ethic, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. So there's two things. People say, I'm looking for the thing I really love doing. There's also a piece in your head is actually, can you learn to love the thing that you're doing?
Right.
Yeah? So there's that. That is what people, I think, miss. It's like, I'm on this massive search. It's like, well, why don't you just spend time learning about what you're doing and make the most of the situation and be mindful in the work that you're doing and learn to like the process to learn to love what you do is you write a list of the good things about what you're doing. So you get a notepad like that and you write, if it's taking out the garbage. You know what I really love about taking out the garbage is it means that tomorrow the bin will be empty and we'll have a fresh garbage bin and we can put more waste and we can keep our house really tidy. I really like the cool thing that I can actually I take the garbage bin out, trash can, whatever, out to the side of the street. I get to see my neighbour's flowers. I get to actually check out the sunrise. I actually get to feel how cold it is because it's pissing rain. And if you write, and this is in relationships with people, it's in doing work, if you write, I really love these elements of this, you will fall in love with the process. If you focus on the things like the bin stinks, it's got maggots, there's flies everywhere, it's fucking noisy dragging it down the driveway, then you will not like it.
Yeah.
So
grass is green on the other side.
Correct. So yes, I have a saying, and you can put this on a post-it note. The grass may be greener on the other side, but it's still really hard to mow.
really long to find a place to measure.
Yeah, but that's the concept, right? So the tip is to learn to love any job. Write a list of the things you like about it.
Yeah.
Don't focus on the things you don't like about it, and you will learn to love that process. And that's what I do.
How did you bounce back from the
Losing everything,
Yeah.
one day at a time. So basically lost it's like what's happening with lots of people now with COVID. So people are like losing their jobs. So you move in with friends or family. So the first thing you do is secure, your house basically and where your shelter is, if you like. So we moved in with friends. We lived with friends for 3 months. Then we found a house to rent that was within our budget, the money that we were making at the time. And then we basically built on that. And then we built the business back up again. And then we basically then bought a house, and then we built the house back up again, and we renovated it, made it amazing. And then we kept building the business, and here we are here. And if it happens again, we'll do it even faster next time. But the cool thing about if it happens again is we'll be even more efficient, because when you have a business that's been running this long, you start carrying overheads and you carry legacies that you can't get rid of. But when you go bankrupt, you lose all that legacy and start again. So it actually really excites me to trip over and actually lose everything, provided I don't cause too much collateral damage, because I'll be more efficient the next time.
Yeah. My dad was like 49 and he got made redundant, and he really struggled to get another job. I think it took like he got to like the final 2 of like a month-long interview processes twice, which I think was just like gut-wrenching.
Yep.
And then eventually got a job, and he just celebrated like 15 years, but he's now like 62, so he's on the road to retirement. But it was like touch and go.
Yeah. So here's another really interesting tip, and this is maybe a TikTok one or a video one. If you have lost your job, learn how to sell. Because people forget, like I need to learn it, they forget that you're a product and you're going to sell that product. And it's really simple. Massive information gathering to learn the problems and challenges of the person you're pitching to, and then show them how to solve that, and that you're the segue to that, you're the solution to that problem. I don't know anything about management, I want to learn about it. Oh, here's a magazine, solution. And so what happens is people get all caught up going for interviews, but forget it's a pitch. And so if you're sitting around right now unemployed and you're watching videos and you're checking out our content and you've recently lost your job, go and watch sales videos. Learn about objections, learn about pitching, learn about asking questions, learn about massive information gathering. I've smashed every interview that I've ever been in because I'm a sales guy. I taught myself to sell. But people are like, oh, and there's no disrespect to your dad, but I see this mistake made all of the time. And that's why I talk so much about selling, and I'm trying to teach people about selling, is selling and learning to sell 100% controls your destiny, because you can get money from anywhere. It's not unethical. It's like, you've got a problem, let me go find the solution to that problem. Are you pretty happy with this? Yes, no worries, take your money, thank you very much. It's business. It's exactly right. Sell anything. All you got to do is find someone with a problem, help them find a solution. Consultative selling. Can I get involved and help you solve that problem? Yes. How much are you prepared to pay to solve that problem?
The whole foundation of design.
Exactly right. The book that's had the biggest impact on my life is a book called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. And he did, it's a PhD, so he won a Nobel Prize not the Nobel Peace Prize, the Nobel Prize for Science and Economics for documenting research about 2 thinking systems, a fast thinking system and a slow thinking system. The fast thinking system is your system when you're just being unconscious and having unconscious conversation. And then the slow thinking system is your pondering system, where you're really thinking about theories and thinking about what you need to do. You think better and more clearly under stress. And it started to unpack like tendencies and human behaviours for me, so I could actually start to see people just behaving unconsciously. Like a lot of this conversational stuff right now is unconscious, and I'm trying to be thought-provoking. And so thought-provoking, it's stressful. Like people finish a conversation with me and they're tired because their brain's ticking over, and that's me activating your slow thinking system. So if you get time, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. It's 26 hours on Audible.
Is that how you listen to read most books? Audible?
It's all hard copy.
Yeah, right.
Maybe 2 Audible books in my whole life. No podcasts really. They're all there. Like I started bringing them up. I've got over 500 books in my business library.
I have astigmatism with my eyes, so I should be wearing glasses.
Yep.
But I love reading.
Yep. You can't read.
It takes me so long because it gets
Yep.
strained. I get
Yep.
headaches. It's
Great.
just like a big thing.
Can you learn by listening?
Pardon?
Can you learn by listening?
Yeah.
Okay, so
But also I'm very like photographic as well, so like
perfect.
because that's why I did chemistry, because it's very
Yeah.
I can see it.
So tips on learning really fast. The fastest way to learn is to teach. So if you can take a piece of content and you can teach it, you can talk to someone about it. So if you can absorb something that if you're struggling to read books in the way that I read, as an example, and we can go through that in another conversation about how I read so fast. But if you can talk to somebody about the subject that you've just listened, how to use the scheduling system, how to do design, how to do whatever you guys are working on, the more you talk to people in your family and you tell people about stuff, the faster you will learn.
How do you know what learner you are, you know?
Type of learner.
Yeah.
There's quizzes online.
I know, but to what extent do they...
They're pretty good because they ask you questions. It's like it's probably like a low-key psychometric testing thing. But go onto there, it's like doing your personality type and all these things. Also, your personality type has a big thing to do with the way you learn. Just do all those quizzes.
You studied, right? So what did you prefer? Pracs, lectures, reading, videos, audio? What do you prefer?
Assessments, like prac assessments on theory. If that
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep.
But like even in like my HSC, for example, like typing, I just would type, but nothing would go in. I just ended up writing like all my notes because I found for some reason pen to paper made it go in my head like that. That's why my whole notepad's pretty much full already. It's like I just write everything down, whether I reread it or not. I feel like I just have to.
Yeah, so that's your learning style. Like you can do like the online test and that's excellent, but it's not rocket science. You just look at what you do, what you default to, there's your style. I write to-do lists. So I write to-do lists and I talk about it. So I do a square box in my notes and then I write things next to it. So I try to actually, rather than write notes on theories and kind of journaling in a way, if you like, I'll actually just write, okay, I just learnt something, I write down something to implement. And that's probably another small part of where I'm at, is just writing it down and then going back to the list. I've got all these books that I carry around everywhere that are like lists and lists and lists and lists. I don't always tick everything off, but I go through and I revisit it, sit down once a day, go through the list, what's important, and I'm not forgetting about it. They're on the bit of paper, the book's going to remember it, it won't forget, I can move on.
How many books do you get through?
Reading books or writing books? Probably writing like a notebook, like that book. This is about 16 weeks and it's finished.
Right.
It's got a bit in the middle left to go, but I noticed this week that I'm almost out of pages.
Space in the middle. Do you work from either end?
Yeah, so I take meeting minutes at the back and discussions and debates and things like that, and I write my to-do lists at the front, and then I write notes and doodles on this side. So phone numbers on this side, to-do list on this side. So there's my to-do lists, all the lists of the stuff I need to do, and other doodles and notes. That page is finished. So you can see the square boxes. Keeps going. And then rip out shit from the middle. And then at the back, if I'm sitting having meetings with people or I'm doing designs or exec summaries or whatever's going on, so that I don't interrupt my to-do list.
Makes sense.
So if I'm sitting in a meeting like today,
Is it a daily to-do list?
no, it's just I keep adding to it. Just keep adding, turn the page, keep going, turn the page, keep going, turn the page. Every couple of months I'll sit down and consolidate. That's it. I probably have, we did a video on these the other day, didn't we?
Keep them.
Yeah, I keep them. I went to actually throw out a whole lot and my dad rescued them and now I have them. So I'm sort of grateful for that.
Yeah.
So I try to get a nice book. So this has got this sort of faux leather vinyl-y cover thing on it and a bookmark.
Makes you more excited to be organised.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's nice to have a nice book as well. Like it looks professional in a meeting. It started when you could start taking mobile devices on planes, but you had to turn them off to land. Like they go, right, we've started our descent, turn off all your shit. And so I started using books probably 17 or 18 years ago when I couldn't turn my device, well, I had to turn my device off and they're like, I need a bit of paper. So I started with notepads, but then they would fall apart.
Yeah.
So that's it. So lots and lots and lots.
Reading books.
So reading books, so today I've purchased 2 books. On any given day I buy between 1 to 3 books. So any recommendation. So I buy books on recommendation. So if someone says a recommendation, I have my phone, I've lost it somewhere, it's in this office.
You read all like genres of books?
Are you just business?
Just business.
Oh, I was going to say read The Shine. It's great.
Sure, like I'll put it on my list. So, no, I'll buy it, it's fine. So I'll find it. So,
but it's Stephen King, so
there you go.
He's a great writer.
Really good. So yeah, so I'll basically, I'm ultimately obviously very focused on business and I don't stop. So 7 days a week, 24/7. But like if you go over there, Emily's been going through them today, like going through the boxes, and there's a couple more boxes downstairs, there's more at home. I tried to like bring the library to the office.
Do you have a library?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's those 2 boxes there, plus there's probably another 4 or 5 boxes.
Not giving a fuck.
Yeah, that on top, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Have you read it?
Yeah.
Is it good? Apparently, I've heard it. Half people be like, yeah, really good, changed my perspective on things. Other half being like, it's a joke. So I don't know.
To me, when someone says something like that book is a joke, like the people that have said it's a joke, it's confronting for them. Like, why did they say it's a joke? It's just a guy's book, like, don't fucking read it.
Yeah.
So why actually comment on it? Like, why hate on something?
Yeah.
Why finish it if you just
That's exactly right. So they're like, I almost guarantee that the people that said it's a joke haven't actually even opened it.
Probably. I think I bought a horror book at the airport instead of that one before a plane ride.
Yep.
And that's the one thing I regretted, literally the entire trip, because I was like, I would have enjoyed reading that.
Yeah.
The entire trip. So I didn't have money to buy 2. With which one?
I think I might have that actually.
It's huge. It's like 700 and something pages.
Yeah.
Dense, but it is an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, right.
Like, you don't stop thinking about it.
Definitely 85% of my books are business.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. But in terms of what I'm looking at, and I showed you earlier, didn't I, with the book, in terms of how I go through the contents page. So I'll go through the contents page. So it's one thing to buy the book. The next thing is the author has to convince me to invest the time to read the book. They've got to sell me on it. Not I bought it, I'm going to read it. I'm going to feel guilty if I don't. No. The first thing they need to do is in their contents page, they need to outline what they're going to help me with. Then I will pick from the contents page the thing that I'm most interested in reading and go straight to that. So just before I went, it's like mindful parenting or something like that. And I was like, right, I'm going straight to page 120. And if I like that chapter, then I might read the chapter before and the chapter after. And if I like those chapters, I'll go to the front and I'll start and I'll read the whole book.
Would you reread the chapters you've already read?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
But it's not about, so it's about, you guys have to understand that the author's got to sell you twice. And people don't realise this. They've got to, A, get you $30. All right, that's fine, because inside this book there could be $2 million. That's the reality of the situation, or $1 million, or $100 million, because it's about supporting your career, right? It's like everyone wants to increase their earning potential. So I'm going in there and I'm looking for the gold nugget. What is the thing that I can implement that will make your lives better, the culture better, the business better, the stuff we're doing better? That's what I'm looking for. Then I'm looking, give me things to implement. So I want to know, validate the things that I'm already doing, that they're right from your experience. Not interested in reading books by authors that don't have any experience and just want to talk about theory.
Yeah.
They've got to show me that they've done it, how they did it, what was right, what went wrong, what were their mistakes, how they came to it. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, great, I understand that, I get it, I can implement it. There's stuff that I've read that I can't implement yet. Business isn't big enough, business is too big.
Does anyone touch on the fact you're writing a book today?
Yeah, so it's about half done, yeah, but we're trying to work out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like it's got some good stuff in it, and it's trying to take all this stuff that I'm talking about and actually get it down on paper to help people. It's a lead magnet, obviously, for the business as well. It's about half done. But what we're trying to do is actually work out who we're writing for, and that's our stumbling block right now. So who can we most effectively help? So that's where we're at, and then there's time scheduled for next Tuesday. I think there's meant to be, I don't know if it's been done yet, but there's meant to be a competition for the design of the cover and also the name. So that's something that we're activating in the marketing group over the next couple of weeks is getting that covered, and then once we've got that sorted, then that'll help the people involved. Alexi's helping me write it.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have like a shadow writer?
Yes, Alexi. Yeah. So I just dictate straight into a Google Doc. So open up a Google Doc, hit the microphone and just talk, and then he converts that into text you can read.
Cool.
Yeah, it's called ghostwriting.
Smart way.
Yeah.
Shadow writing.
Yeah, ghostwriting. Shadow writing, yeah. That's right, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
No worries at all.